Alliance for Justice has been a leader in the social justice movement for 30 years.
The Supreme Court of the United States, where Americans have sought justice for over 2 centuries, where an ordinary person can stand equal with the government, with a large corporation, with the rich and powerful, with the protection of our laws and our Constitution.
From the beginning, our work has focused on the Constitution and the courts. Our focus on the courts is not academic. It is grounded in the knowledge that the court's actions affect the lives of the American people every day.
1987, an opening on the Supreme Court. Ultra-conservatives thought they had their man. Judge Robert Bork scorned the right...
Because a fair and independent judiciary is so important, when Ronald Reagan began quietly packing the federal courts with ultra-conservative judges, Alliance for Justice sounded the alarm.
Americans rejected Judge Bork's ideas, and the Senate rejected his nomination.
So we can have a federal bench that will not legislate from.
And we fought the same efforts of George W. Bush to place extremists on the federal bench.
Judge Pickering went the whole 9 yards and then some to get a lighter sentence for a convicted cross-burner. Why would anyone do that?
And you joined with Justice Hecht in a dissent in restricting the plaintiff's right to recover under age discrimination. It seems to me that you were moving in the opposite direction of civil rights.
That case directly affects thousands of children who suffer and die from asthma. You want to know why this nominee is important? He'll be making judgments in whether we're going to continue those kinds of protections.
We fought the appointments of John Roberts and Samuel Alito to the Supreme Court because we knew their extreme views would damage civil rights and women's rights.
I was shocked because there was so much difference in their pay versus mine.
The case of Lilly Ledbetter, who suffered pay discrimination at the hands of Goodyear Tire and Rubber, confirmed our warnings about Roberts and Alito.
2 very conservative justices, John Roberts and Samuel Alito. And despite the lower court rulings and the Supreme Court's own precedents, they ruled against Lilly Ledbetter.
But the courts are not our only focus. For 15 years, we have made award-winning films encouraging activism on issues like the death penalty. George McFarland was convicted of murder while his court-appointed attorney slept through the trial.
You ever go to sleep during a case?
No, I close my eyes, rest. In this McFarland case, I did.
Yeah, he said he heard you snoring.
Yeah, well.
I put a lot of faith, a lot of trust in him.
15 years later, George McFarland is still on death row.
Guns kill over 30,000 Americans every year.
We have fought the gun lobby and the National Rifle Association to pass sensible gun safety laws.
For 2 years, that's more Americans killed by guns than were killed in the entire Vietnam War.
Our films have exposed unfair immigration laws.
We cannot believe how inhuman the new immigration laws are. It's like a witch hunt. It's like we're all in jeopardy now. We've all been here 20, 25, 30 years. Some of us are permanent residents, some of us are citizens.
Millions of families still don't have a decent home because they can't afford what it costs.
We have highlighted the need for fair and affordable housing.
By how you treat, the least powerful in society. And, we are truly a civilized, a humane, a progressive society, then we should care about things like this.
To protect all of America's waters.
We have joined with allies to fight for the environment.
By a 5-4 vote, the Supreme Court said no. Congress didn't mean what it said. Congress only meant some of the waters of the United States, and that has opened the door to give developers free rein to actually destroy up to 60% by some estimates of America's waterways.
for reproductive rights.
Reproductive rights is much greater than the right to have an abortion. And those of us that work in this movement every day see that the breadth and depth of reproductive health and rights includes everything from access to contraception, family planning, the right to have healthy children.
And for civil rights, including fair access for all to a quality education.
The court upheld the Michigan Law School admissions program by a 5-4 vote. Justice Sandra Day O'Connor cast the deciding vote and wrote the court's opinion.
The opinion by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor stated that it's in the national interest to ensure that all children have equal access to an education on a non-discriminatory basis.
My ukulele, and what I've played since I was...
And we have fought for Americans who have suffered harm from unsafe drugs or faulty medical devices.
But I can't play it anymore because of this. This happened because of Wyeth Pharmaceuticals has a drug.
And we've had some important victories.
Recently, the United States Supreme Court ruled that I have the right to sue the manufacturer of the medicine for their bad label. I finally got some justice.
In the case of Jesus Collado, we sparked a response from activists that got Jesus released from jail and led to new and fairer INS rules.
It is fitting that the very first bill that I signed, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Restoration Act.
In the first legislative act of his presidency, Barack Obama signed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act into law, overturning the decision of the Roberts Court that had denied her fair pay.
And the justice isn't about some abstract legal theory or footnote in a casebook. It's about how our laws affect the daily lives and the daily realities of people.
The president has confirmed his commitment to equal justice for all with his first appointments to the federal courts and the Supreme Court.
What Sonia will bring to the court, then, is not only the knowledge and experience acquired over a course of a brilliant legal career, but the wisdom accumulated from an inspiring life's journey.
None of our work would be possible without a network of progressive organizations with whom we work every day. And in turn, we help them by providing the advice and tools they need to do advocacy and maintain their nonprofit status.
Our mission has been to change the laws here in the state of Connecticut so that same-sex couples would have the right to adopt their children and also to be legally married. And we are at a place in Connecticut where same-sex couples can now marry. Those of us in the nonprofit world, we go into the work that we do because we care about the issues, whether it's children's rights or homelessness or gay rights. We don't go into it because we want to figure out how to set up an allocation agreement or what are the lobbying rules in a ballot measure. And that's where the Alliance for Justice comes in.
The Alliance for Justice has been critical in providing the information, the knowledge, the documents, the examples to allow foundations to engage in public policy advocacy. They've been at the forefront of helping explain to an entire field that it is our right and our responsibility to engage in advocacy work. They've been indispensable.
What I love about the Alliance for Justice is it means what it says. That there's no false advertising. It's an Alliance for Justice. It's not a single issue group. It's not a single constituency group. It's one of the few groups in America that's trying to hold the conversation for everybody, all oppressed people, all disadvantaged people.
There's a very generous attitude at Alliance for Justice that says we're all in this together. This isn't about building an organization, it's about building a movement, and it's about building a country that represents these values of justice and fairness.
We have to advocate big, bold change. And we must join efforts on the big, cross-cutting issues that affect all of us. The only way we win on these issues is if we win together. That's what it will take to turn this opportunity into a lasting legacy.